We're being terrorized by men with unsucked dicks. How's it going? Hermdo back with you. Let's get right into it. But first, a quick aside. We've heard about incels for about 7, 8 years now. I remember it kind of blowing up online about 8 years ago, around 2017. I remember some podcasters, some lefty podcasters were talking about it. And getting called an incel was a pretty common occurrence for people on the right. There's like this idea that if you embrace right-wing ideology, it means you don't get laid. Like the incel or like right-wing ideology as a whole is like some response to not being able to get a girlfriend or being frustrated by the fact that you just can't get laid, and it manifests in this racism or whatnot, this revolt against this world you see as like liberal or communist or whatever. I can't get laid because everything's woke now. It doesn't, let me just say, I'm not defending anybody. It's fucked up. It's gross. I've struggled with relationships too, believe it or not. I know you're saying, Hermdo, you're so handsome and charming. How could that be? But I have some empathy for these guys, but there's been some goings on lately, and I just want to talk about them. Just some of the stuff, like incels and their kind of role in culture and kind of our response to them and how we think we can defeat these guys who just can't get a girlfriend. This right here, recognizing the violent extremist theory of ideology of incels. This is written in 2018. So, while lone wolf attackers who evoke anti-feminist ideas are often framed as mentally ill loners, the 2018 attack in Toronto carried out by Alec Manassian was a terrorist in nature. Alec Manassian, he actually drove his van into a bunch of people in Toronto, killed a bunch of them, mostly women. It was fucked up. Yeah, it was did this whole instance, and of course Elliot Rodger killing a couple people too. The guy would post long, rambling videos in his car about how he couldn't get laid either. That was before this even. That was a while ago. Media reporting after the Toronto attack quietly emphasized that Manassian struggles with mental health and cited claims from friends that he wasn't a terrorist. The treatment fails to recognize the corrosive political ideology that underpinned Manassian's attack and his desire to terrorize the public. These qualities should rightly define his actions as terrorism. At the heart of this ideology are hard and misogynistic notions of traditional gender roles. So we got that. That's from Georgetown. Also this, problems men face in the real world. Laura Bates writes that the real problems and insecurities faced by young men, such as workplace injuries, cancer, and suicide, can be co-opted by organized online extremist groups. These groups present masculine strength, a lack of vulnerability, a lack of emotion, and other stereotypes of masculinity as solutions to these problems. Although, she writes, these stereotypes actually cause or exacerbate the problems they claim to solve. Bates says that this ideological grooming can lead to calls for mass violence against women, and when this occurs, it should be categorized as terrorism. Laurie Penny writes that, like other forms of violent extremism, misogynist extremism promises the lost and despairing that they will have the respect and sense of purpose they always longed for, if only they hate hard enough. And there's a few, like proving manhood. Jessica Valenti quote here. Valenti writes that some misogynist terrorists have been motivated by the desire to live up to the stereotype that real men are powerful. Incel beliefs can include an aberrance of men who are perceived as sexually successful with women. Male victims of misogynist violence have been targeted because of desperation to assert superiority over these men. Yeah, that's a problem too. If you get laid, you're also on the target list. That's a real issue. There's this like seething resentment at people that have sex and have relationships. There's been some instances of this happening. Christopher Cleary pled guilty to a charge of attempted threat of terrorism for an attack he planned against the 2019 Women's March in Provo, Utah. This was the first terrorism-related sentence given to a male supremacist perpetrator, motivated primarily by sexual entitlement. In 2020, Toronto machete attack, in which the perpetrator was associated with an incel group, is the first known instance of someone charged with terrorism on the basis of misogynist ideology. In January 2021, a man in Edinburgh, Scotland, was convicted and jailed for breaking terrorism laws by acquiring weapons in preparation for a misogynist attack. So yeah, these guys are a serious problem, and this kind of thing, that spawns from it could lead to more violence. There are instances of this happening, but this one group here, Patriot Front, this white supremacist terror group, I am hesitant to call them a terror group, but I don't know of any like actual terrorist acts they've committed, but they are like this white supremacist group. Some of them, like groups like this, I don't know, how can I say this where people won't accuse me of being woke? I don't have a problem with people like organizing and stuff. I mean, all within the limits of like free speech and association and what have you and whatnot. I'm not down with this kind of shit, mostly because a lot of these organizations are absolutely beset by feds. You hear stories about like young guys who are frustrated. They get like these guys, these organizations get their hooks in them, and then they're like protesting like diversity or immigration or something in these groups, and chances are they wind up in a terrorism watch list, or they wind up getting arrested like at these guys right here.
We are finding out more tonight about the arrest of 31 members of a white supremacist group allegedly plotting to riot at a pride event up in Idaho. They were discovered Saturday, packed into the back of a U-Haul truck, all wearing similar clothing in white.
The leader of this is a guy named Thomas Rousseau. I don't know much about him. I know a little bit about this group. I've heard about them. I know a lot of right-wing guys like them. There's like this idea among the right. It's kind of an aside. This is kind of off topic, but it's just like a lot of people feel like not enough is being done. That's also another way like the right-wing people kind of get their hooks in people, just feel like, oh, you don't want to just sit on your computer and do nothing, do you? You got to act. You got to join these groups. You got to do something. And that's how groups like Patriot Front basically recruit these guys. And they stand to get into serious legal trouble like these guys here.
Face coverings. Police were tipped off by somebody who saw these guys loading masks and shields into a truck and told the police that they looked like a little army. The men are reportedly members of the Patriot Front. This is a white nationalist group, and we're heading to an LGBTQ pride event to riot.
I will tell you, it appeared to be very similar to an operations plan that a police or military group would put together for a days of for an event. There was at least one smoke grenade. There was multiple shields. They were all wearing hats that had plastic inside them, shin guards, shields, things of that nature.
And they weren't local. The suspects came from at least 11 different states. They're all facing misdemeanor charges for conspiracy to riot, but the FBI is now involved in the investigation as well.
Yeah, it's messed up. It's just, it's bad. You know, you don't want to get involved in this kind of shit. Believe me. I know people, it's just, there's better ways to go about doing this kind of shit instead of just like joining some white supremacist group and threatening people and shit and putting a target on your back. You know, right now, people are, in this day and age, people are really sensitive and freaked out by this kind of shit. But yeah, some information on Patriot Front. Members of the white supremacist group Patriot Front believe that their ancestors conquered America and bestowed it to them and no one else. Patriot Front defines itself as an organization of American nationalists, justifying its hate and intolerance under the guise of preserving America's identity as a pan-European nation. I don't know what the hell that means, but I guess maybe founded by European people or something. In 2019, Patriot Front has been responsible for the vast majority of white supremacist propaganda distributed in the United States, using flyers, posters, stickers, and banners, and the internet to spread their hateful ideology. Now, how do we fight these guys? How do we convince these young dudes that joining this group, committing all these acts, being essentially a fascist is bad? Walter Masterson has an idea. Check this guy out. I don't endorse any of this. I don't endorse Patriot Front, and I don't endorse this guy either, but let's watch some of this.
I'm just here today asking, what's it like being a virgin?
Pretty rad.
Yeah. What's your body count?
I'm a father. We have a website, patriotfront.us.
Oh, I've heard of Patriot Front. Yeah,
Yep.
It's a group of incels.
Yep.
Yeah, this kind of shit. I feel like, I was gonna kind of do like maybe a series of videos like talking about how like um internet ideology like Reddit and Twitter is kind of bleeding over into real life. This dude, Walter Masterson, guys like this don't really have very many independent thoughts by themselves. They kind of just repeat what they hear online, and it becomes like part of their personality. And it's like that weird kind of thing where you think everything is for content. You want to go viral on Twitter. You want to get a pat on the back from your fellow lefties. It looks so dumb. You've been calling these guys incels for the longest time, and I don't really understand this ideology where it's like, if you're right wing, you don't get laid. I don't understand. There's lots of right wing guys out there who have wives and kids and whatnot, and you could be a married incel. I don't know. I mean, I guess your wife can stop fucking you. I don't know. I've never been married. I don't know. But this shit, this weird sexual shit, man. I just the left and some of their opinions about sex it's very odd and out there, and I can't really judge anybody for not getting laid, but it's just I don't know. I mean, it's just like, is this your response to like fascism? Just to tell them they don't get laid? It's kind of stupid. It's just and look, I'm not signing off. Both these people, all these people are losers. Everybody, I wish everybody in this video could lose. I'm not down with any of this shit, but like the left's response is basically just to accuse you of, not having your dick sucked, and it's pretty cringe.
What's it like being an incel?
I'm married with children.
You can be an incel and be married with children. What's it like being a incel virgin?
I wouldn't know, sir.
What's your body count?
Doesn't matter.
What's your body count?
Excuse me?
What's your body count?
Are you talking about intercourse?
Yes.
My wife. Her.
What's it like?
This fucking greasy little creep just mincing around this event, just like, oh, have you ever had sex? you want to have sex? You can be cool. I mean, am I supposed to believe if I have sex, can I be cool like this guy? Can I be cool like all the Redditors and incel tears, all the fat purple-haired people who make fun of lonely guys all day, so to make them feel better about their own lives? I mean, we always say what no pussy does to a motherfucker. I've seen what pussy does to a motherfucker. It's bad. Basically, we all need to stop having sex, and I think we're well on our ways to that. But anyways, I saw this. What's your body count, incel? My wife, Giga Chad. Giga Chad has been around for like 6-7 years. He's not going anywhere. He's like the meme. Gotta love it. And this guy says, Patriot Front are a bunch of fed F-slurs. They don't need you running cover for them. Many are saying this, but I've yet to see the evidence of it other than they cover their faces. Mind providing us with something of substance? The libtard fears the married incel. Or the degenerate thinks degenerate behavior is cool, but the trad-based man makes him look foolish. It looks like he's seen the inside of a high school locker a few times. Jewish, okay, I'm not getting into that. But let's see what people are saying under, what's his name, Walter's tweet. Wow, hard-hitting original content. This is amazing. You really stuck it to them. Hey, mate, go have some sex. It's great. You really like it. That's all they have. It's like all these women and effeminate men, just the same thing. Go get laid. Go get laid. We don't want to get laid anymore. We're done with sex. Our dicks are dry. Fuck you. But that's like the only thing. You've been saying this shit. We've been doing this shit. I've brought it up so many times, but you're just doing the same shit over and over again, saying the same goddamn things over and over again. Is this going to stop the incel rebellion? Is this going to stop Patriot Front? No, it's not. There has to be a better way to go about this kind of shit instead of just like going out there and making some stupid like 8-year-old joke at people that you think are fascist or some shit. There has to be a better way forward than this. It's so lame. But I'm gonna, that's all I really got to say about it. I'm not a fan of anybody involved. I don't know. I don't endorse any of this shit. But I can't, with the way the world is and with the premium we put on sex, with the kind of thoughts and attitudes regarding sex and how we judge people so harshly for not getting laid. I think that's kind of messed up. I think there's more to your life than getting laid. I can say that because I rarely have ever gotten laid, but you have to find a way to just be okay with it, or at least don't default into being a right-wing guy or like you can be right-wing. I don't have a problem with the right wing. I'll just say that, but it's just like, but embracing, I draw a distinction between like right-wing ideology and like racism. I don't necessarily think right-wing ideology and racism is really one. I think there's some separation there. I think you can have right-wing beliefs and not be racist. I made a video about that too. I might release it a bit later, but yeah, basically, there's better ways to vent your frustration, but at the same time, I understand where these guys are coming from. They kind of feel that they're under attack. They kind of feel like society's against them, so they're going to start getting organized and stuff. They're going to start doing this kind of shit, and our only response is just to tell them they don't get their dicks wet, and I just think it's not going to work. It hasn't worked. I mean, we're just doing the same shit over and over again. These are the same problems, and the same old solutions aren't working. So we got to figure out a better way to take care of these guys. I don't want these dudes joining these groups and getting arrested. I don't want these greasy little leftist douchebags bothering people. But it's all free speech. What can I say? But yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. Thank you all for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to support the channel, my Cash App right there. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it there, and I will talk to you guys later.
Ryan Little.